cheap GoPro alternatives are always tempting, especially if you're about to explore the action camera world. Is this another great $100 device? We inspect the Victure AC920 in order to find out.
Welcome, Tech4O channel. Michael here, nice to meet you. If you come to the channel for the first time, well, we usually inspect cool tech here. And this is a video about a new action camera. This is the Victure 4K, and can't really recall the exact name of this model, but I wanted to show you how it performs in a real life scenario for vlogging. Currently recording at 4K 30 frames per second with electronic image stabilization and no distortion, meaning that some parts, some things that I'm filming like this here might look a little bit bent. There's an option for distortion calibration, but I haven't enabled it yet. And currently you're listening to the audio quality of the internal microphone. So how does all of that feel? Let me know in the comments below.
After we get to hear about the audio quality and so the video performance in the vlogging example, this is one of the latest entries of the portfolio by a company called Victure. The model is AC920, and I've picked it because it's a very budget-friendly solution, claiming to offer 4K at 60 frames per second recording at a maximum, which is the maximum that the industry leaders are supporting, probably with exception to 5K that the latest GoPro and the Insta360 1R 1-inch edition are offering and so on. But that's quite a challenging thing to offer, and I wanted to figure out how good that actually is, because it costs only a fraction of the price of the Hero series. And as usual, in this video, we're going to talk about the price, then the hardware, then the software, and then based on all that, we're going to make an assessment of the performance. You can buy it at a price between $100 and $120, which is a great price given the competition. I think quality is similar to what the company called Acaso provides, and in the past years they've established themselves as some of the good action cam makers. Basically, at the price of the latest GoPro Hero 9, you can buy around 4 cameras of that type, which is a good deal if decent image quality is not your priority. So let's unbox and get to know what's inside. Victure have designed a good-looking box. Luckily, it's full of accessories. This is a big advantage of these budget action cams. You usually receive a lot of these mounts, so hooking the cam on a bike or a helmet won't be a trouble. However, despite the big amount, you won't find a headband or a chest strap, so if you prefer to buy separately, go for something with better quality, as the cheapest options won't last too long. The camera arrives in waterproof housing, so no, it's not waterproof without a case, but the 940 model is. If you want water to be involved, make sure to put it inside this case and you can dive down to 40 meters, something I apparently had no chance to test yet. 2 batteries are included, that's always great. Given the fact that you can charge while you're shooting means that you won't really need anything more than that. So, let's review the technical specifications. Sunplus iCatch V39, the Sony IMX214 image sensor, 170-degree field of view lens, 1350 mAh battery, support up to 256 gigs of microSD card, there's Wi-Fi remote option and a large bright 2-inch display. In a nutshell, the hardware brings rather new and capable chipset, but it belongs to the entry-level devices. The Sony IMX214 image sensor inside, it's a good one, but it's pretty small, and I guess it's the main reason why low-light footage looks so bad. In fact, looking at the specs of the sensor, it seems to support up to 30 frames per second in 4K, therefore there's probably some kind of sorcery involved to make the advertised 60 frames per second output possible, at least on paper, so of course I had to check that. Apparently, the bitrate sounds legit, 36 in 1080p 60 frames per second versus above 120 megabits in 4K 60 frames per second. But our eyes don't lie. Here are the videos side by side, and I bet that looking into that you won't be able to notice any difference. If we zoom in 4 times, theoretically the 4K video should be at least twice sharper and with twice more details, but it ain't. So, while the camera claims recording up to 4K 60 frames per second, this statement is only partially correct because the sensor doesn't support it. Meaning that shooting 4K 60 FPS with the Victure AC920 is simply wasting space and draining the battery faster than usual. There's absolutely no advantage in terms of video quality. It looks as bad as 1080p in 60 FPS. So that was a false start. Let's hope that the 30 frames per second performance will do better and compensate for all that. So, prior to examining more footage, let's see about these menus and the user experience that the camera can offer. I found a lot of similarities with menus present on Osmo Action cams. If you've ever seen Eken's camera from a few years ago, similar feeling. The touchscreen allows easy access to most menus. Not that there are too many options. Looking into the section with the resolution choices, 24 and 25 FPS are missing, so there's no option for the so-called cinematic experience, nor for good support for people using it in a PAL region. Luckily, there's an option to select the angle of view. Note that here we talk about software crop, so the narrower you go, the more likely is you to sacrifice some quality. Better shoot in the widest possible option and correct that in post. Thanks to the accessories, you can enhance the functionality by far. I like a lot the availability of the remote, and also since the camera has Wi-Fi, you can use your smartphone to control it or to download the media. Needs to warn you, this is not among the best working apps in these days, so in terms of user experience, things are okay. Not as tidy and smooth as a DJI Osmo Action, nor functional and customizable as a GoPro, but it seems to be a good starter pack. So if you don't mind, let us go back to the footage analysis. I hoped for better 30 frames per second performance. Luckily, it's almost up to par with the expectations. You can see lots of details, good contrast and tolerable colors in daylight. The amount of noise, however, is notable, and generally, this is not the best image quality out of an action cam we've ever seen. Of course, looking back at the price, many people will remind about the motto, "You get what you pay for." I actually believe that there still are products that can surprise us with good quality and features and could turn out to be a lot better than expected. This Victure Moto so far seems to not be one of them though. Slow motion is as expected rather poor. I say as expected because low-performing chipsets like this one inside are often struggling with slow motion because it needs very high shutter speed, and combined with a small sensor, this significantly impacts the image quality. The weakest point here is the low light performance. While this is not the smallest image sensor in the world, it just doesn't deliver. Generally, most cheap 4K action cams struggle a lot with low light, and they're often way worse than 1080p image sensors because of the pixel density. Combined with the electronic image stabilization which we have here, it further worsens the situation. I'd recommend to simply avoid using this action camera in any other condition but sunlight. Seen many complaints about poor footage with other brands, and this generally is the golden rule: the brighter the day, the better the image quality. If good conditions are present, you can see some good-looking footage, well stabilized. So travels, hiking, picnics, outdoor activities, you can enjoy them all and capture them with the Victure AC920, but you won't have amazing build quality or stabilization, neither will the footage look like captured with a GoPro. Concerning the drawbacks, we start with the misleading 4K 60 FPS stamp, which we've proven is actually 1080p. We continue with the rather inefficient 60 frames per second performance, the pretty poor low light performance, the rather mediocre image stabilization, and the lack of 24 and 25 FPS as shooting modes. At least the battery life was fine and managed to give consistently between 30 and 60 minutes of shooting, depending on how much screen on time I consumed. So, at the end, for around $100, yes, this can work out well. Anything more than that, I'd say better invest in something else. For instance, a refurbished GoPro Hero 6 is going to cost you about $160, and the performance upgrade there is huge. Tolerable upgrade could be the SJCam SJ10 Pro, or of course the DJI Osmo Action, which I still believe is the most optimal choice between performance and price. There we go. I hope that the last few minutes have helped you to make the right buying decision or to learn something new from the world of tech gadgets. And we inspect a lot of them here on the Tech for All channel, so make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. I'm Michael, and it's been a great pleasure to present you the Victure AC920. For any comments and questions, reach out via the section below the video. As usual, all the equipment mentioned and shown throughout the video is linked in the description down below. And with that, and of course a big portion of positive energy and wishes for a lovely day, I'll let you enjoy the rest of it. Take care, and see you soon!